Well, that was all the big action from last weekend's elimination final in the Rams 2016 final series in Newcastle Hunter Rugby. It wasn't the brightest game, it wasn't the best game. I tell you what, we've got the brightest mind here with us today. Doesn't look like you've changed from last week.
Oh, mate, I'm just in routine, mate. Grand final routine, you know. You just
lucky shirt.
Stick with what works. I didn't too many tongue twists last week, so I thought I'd go with the Czech Pizza Hut number again.
Like your lucky undies.
Indeed. They're getting a bit holy now, the lucky undies, but that's a topic for another day, I'd suggest.
Yeah, we better not go to the holy talk, because both of us will probably fail at that and burn right where we're sitting. Any case, it was a game last week. It was an interesting game. Wanderers certainly picked up on the game plan that Beach has brought to them last week, and in the end it was a good account, and it makes for a very good final this week.
It does. I mean, they got off to a flying start. I mean, it was 17-0 after 10 minutes, and that's in a semi-final football. That's always going to be hard to chase down. You have to take some risks if you're the team behind, and unfortunately for Beaches, it didn't work for them. But geez, yeah, Wanderers were very good. It was back to the Wanderers of old. They were aggressive at the breakdown. They moved the ball swiftly, and they got the ball to the edge of their danger men. Tim Marsh was outstanding. Dylan Rowney had his best game since his return this year from that broken leg. And Bill Coppy's always a danger, a threat in around that ruck. So they were very good, and their forwards laid the platform. And they're going to have to be not at least as good as that. They're going to have to be better than that to trouble him, particularly in that ruck and more situation and defending their big men close to the pillars.
Well, it's going to be a big day, grand final day here at Number 2 Sports Ground. Plenty of things planned to be here. Bar TV themselves, we're going to give away a bit of money if you're going to be here at half-time for the big main match. But with Merewether Carlton in the lower grades, there's going to be a massive crowd here early on, playing all lower grades. And then the big one, Wanderers, obviously, it's their home ground in Hamilton. I believe we've got plenty of supporters coming here. So if you're at home, don't miss out on coming to the best day in Newcastle Rugby.
And of course, Maitland will be here early as well. I think their third grader in up against Merewether Carlton.
Right.
So they'll be here at least until about 1 or 2 o'clock, and then they generally head back up the highway. But same with Merewether Carlton, very strong in the lower grades again. I think they're playing in Social Force as well against the Wanderers.
Well, that's a good thing as well.
At 10 a.m.
They're playing the Social Force here at 10 o'clock. I believe Wanderers have a champagne breakfast all the nights pre-game, which is...
As they have. They've taken the social element of the Social Force very seriously, the Wanderers. Yeah. I think you'll find most of those guys certainly haven't touched a blade of grass in third grade this year, and they've enjoyed the Friday nights. They've enjoyed the trips up to Singleton and Maitland, and that's what it's about. So I'm a bit surprised they didn't have it on a Friday night and let the rest of the rugby fraternity get there and have a look and have a beer with them. But champagne breakfast sounds good.
Honestly, I saw the Wanderers versus Merewether play here. It was a gala night the other week, and it was a pretty good match, and some pretty old big names there in fourth grade. So it's starting a big day of grand final festivities early on, and it should be a good game.
Oh, it will be, and don't worry, those old blokes, there's a bit of history between obviously some of those guys, particularly from Wanderers and Merewether Carlton, so their game faces will be on for about 60 minutes, and then I'm sure once that's done, it'll be back to the social side of things, but it'll be a belter. I'll be here for sure. I can't wait for that one. Most of my old mates will be padding up for that one. So
did you think about playing this year, Jimmy?
For about 30 seconds. I went to the meeting because it was at the pub, and I thought that's a good idea. I'll go to the meeting, and then once they, but no, it didn't eventuate for me. Friday nights is generally a work night, and when I'm not at work, I'm at home.
Well, that's what rugby's all about, is the social side of it, and of course the big side of it. Of course, as you mentioned, the lower grade matches. Third grade, we've got Merewether v Maitland. Maitland, a little bit disappointed with the end of the season. They started off so well throughout all the grades, and really in the end only making the third grade. They've got a bus coming down. We should see them.
It's a pretty handy third grade too, let me tell you. Mick Hickling and Ryan McCormack. Cunningham's playing. I think one of the O'Toole's plays third grade. So there's Dan Runshall's played a fair few games in third grade. Yeah, so it's again, it's a bit like the Wanderers fourth grade, except Wanderers fourth grade's probably 15 years ago from their first grade, whereas the Maitland Blacks is maybe 5 to 10 years ago from first grade. But again, there'll be some quality footy play.
Another grudge match as well in second grade. Merewether Carlton taking on the Wanderers. Merewether Carlton second grade have been undefeated all year, but it'll be a big test on grand final day.
Stop it. I can see the green in your eyes coming through. If you go back to the early 2000s, I think we played Merewether in 5 straight grand finals.
I think they won 5 straight, didn't they?
No. We definitely won 2. I distinctly remember one out at the Gardens when we were up 19-0, and my good mate Ben Mully was gobbing off a little bit, and he got sin binned, and we got beat 21-19.
Was that Matthew Jackson's length of field? Was that
I think
grade?
so. I think it was second grade that year, and boy did we hear about it. But anyway, they were the old days, mate.
I can't believe he made it the whole way.
The young group this year, I mean, both teams were pretty young teams. both played some expansive footy. Merrill in particular have got some wheels there. So, and we've seen a few of their guys go in and out of first grade and done the job, and their first grade hasn't missed a beat. So, that tomorrow's grand final will be, in terms of quality, it'll be like watching a first grade game.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly helps them as well as far as sides go without their top side in the grand final. So maybe a couple of players may have come back for the semi-final series.
Mate, whatever works, whatever's in the rules, mate. It's this time of year. You want to come away a grand final day with something, don't you? Exactly. Yeah. Whether it's a raffle, whether it's the halftime sprint, or a second grade title, or even a social force title, it's all about toasting at the end of the day.
Well, I only hope they stay for the whole day and don't go for first grade, because the first grade game, we'll get to it in a second, it's going to be epic. But what doesn't sit well, it never has playing for Merriweather, is that they leave if their first grade isn't there. I think they should stay, and I'm going to put it out there to them, stay, because there's a chance to win a big prize at half time.
And think of the cameras too, because they're always on the eastern side of the ground, I guess the seaboard side of the ground, as you'd expect, the beach side of the ground. They don't think of
things like that, mate.
Yeah, and then off they go. But no, I'm sure they'll stick around for the first 20 minutes. As you said, it should be a belter. There's no doubts that Hamilton and Wanderers have been the two top teams in first grade. They finished 1-2. I think Wanderers in second were 23 points ahead of third place Southern Beaches. So there was quite a big gap there, and it's good to see the top two teams contesting the biggest day of the year for the second year in a row. So they know a lot about each other, these two teams. So it's going to be one of those real gripping finales, I reckon.
Well, we had a good chance last night to catch up with the two captains for the grand final. And here's what they had to say leading up to the match. We'll back after that with a full analysis of the first grade grand final. So, Steve, another year, another grand final, mate. You're looking forward to it?
Yeah, definitely so. Grand finals, we're fortunate we've been in a few over the last few years, but this one, against Wanderers, again, a repeat of last year's grand final. It's a special one.
Yeah, as a team as well, you've got a good mix this year of old and new, as you kind of do every year. Who do you think is going to be the standout player this year? Who have you got revved up?
Mate, it's hard to say. You've got Chopper in there. That's probably the most aggressive prop to play with, and I wouldn't like to play against him. And then you've got the likes of, Joey and Seva there as well. And then in the backs, Kilo directing them. Paddy at 12, just to name a few. Visso on the wings. It's hard to say who's the most excited, but it's going to be good fun.
Yeah, sure, will be good fun at number 2 Sports Ground as well. Are you guys expecting a big crowd? It's going to be a massive day here today. Is there plenty of home supporters coming?
Yeah, definitely. It's unfortunate that 2's just ducked out. They're right on the whistle last week. But there should be a great crowd regardless, weather depending, obviously. But it's normally a great day for rugby. It's always good atmosphere, so looking forward to it.
And had a few questions this week. Is this your retirement match?
Well, you were just saying I've put on a bit of beef. Maybe I should take up coach, and we'll might have to talk to Bubba about that one.
Very good. Before you run out, what's the last thing you're going to say to your team?
Just stay composed. Let's go out there and enjoy it, and take it to them. And
then do your hair?
Nah, hair's already done. Look good, play good, mate. Oh, you want to keep going?
No, that's good. Yeah. Very good. Thanks, mate. Very much, Steve. All the best for the rest of the game.
Cheers, mate. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, Luke, we seem like we're here every single year talking to you grand final day. Plenty of experience. What are you looking forward to about the day the most?
The win. Should be a good game, mate. We've had some tight encounters with Hamilton this year. First game, I think, was separated by 1 try, and second game by 1 point, so it should be another good one.
Yourself, you're in some pretty good form as well. I guess your week depends on Ben Ham as well this week. How do you think he's going to get off?
Mate, I'd like to see him get off. 2 of his yellow cards this year have been team infringements, so I don't really think it's overly fair that Anderson Medal, one of the best players in the comp, should sit the grand final out for team infringements.
Yeah, team infringements. Does that mean he's a team player, or I don't really get it? And if they can take away, if they can give it a yellow card, surely they can take one away.
I'd like to think so, mate. Yeah, like I said, he's a fantastic player, and if you want to see the best play the best, you need him out there.
Yeah, certainly. You guys have picked up your aggression in the latter part of the season. Discipline's been letting you down a little bit. How are you going to combat that this week?
Yeah, mate, it's something we've been working on, discipline. We've given away quite a few penalties. So we are working on where we are getting pinged. So we're going to be working on that again this weekend at training, or this week at training, and hopefully we can come away with a few less penalties and not get marched down the field so much.
Very good. We asked Bubba before, what's his costume for Silly Sunday? What's yours going to be, mate?
Mate, it's actually a surprise, so I can't really say.
Well, plenty of tricks up your sleeve. All the best for the weekend and all the best, I guess, for the rest of the year.
Cheers, mate. Thanks very much.
Well, there we go. And the two captains, they're both quietly confident, both of them. I mean, both sides have been in the mix for the last couple of years, haven't they? And it's a testament to the clubs and a testament to, I guess, their playing roster as well.
Yeah, indeed. Last year's grand final, Hamilton won that 14-7. They were the minor premiers that year, but then got bumped out in the major semi. Wanderers went straight through, whereas this year, I guess the scenario is not quite the same. Again, Hamilton were the minor premiers, but they won the major semi and had the week off, whereas Wanderers had to do it the hard way. So I guess it's half. Do you enjoy the extra week off to rest those bumps and bruises, or do you like getting into the grind of playing week to week? Wanderers will tell you the grind of playing week to week.
And I think it's true. I think Wanderers needed to get the week to week stuff happening to play themselves back into a bit of form. They were a little bit touchy coming into the semis. Now they got beat by Southern Beaches, and they have played themselves into some pretty good form over the last couple of weeks. Whereas Hamilton, on the other hand, I think they're the type of side that it doesn't affect them too much if they have the week off. They're so well drilled, and Bubba has them so relaxed.
Yeah, I know he said to me last week was all contact at training, and they had another big contact session on Saturday morning, and this week's been more about team stuff and ball movement and just getting them ticking over and fine-tuning things. So, yeah, they'll be both peach, ripe to go. No real injury concerns. Obviously, Ben Ham getting through that positive judiciary outcome on Wednesday night, so Wanderers will be at full strength. Hamilton's got a couple of players.
Yeah, let's talk
with
about
queries
that.
Whose wives
That's
are waiting for, or partners are waiting for the birth of their baby. So,
I mean, it will be big news if he's not playing, because he's been sort of their go-to man, their go forward with Paddy Kilmurray playing out wide.
Yeah, well, he's an ex-league player, and he's still got that league mentality when it comes to running lines and hitting the ball up, and defensively he's very good. Yeah, but his partner was due to give birth on Wednesday. She's from Canberra, so she went down to Canberra, what I've been told, last Friday, and he went with her, expecting the birth to be done nice and early. He's training Saturday, he's training again Tuesday, and they had fingers crossed that the stork may have arrived overnight, but as of yet, I don't think that's happened. So there's I guess there's a couple of options there on what happens. Does he bring in Sorelli Banavela, we've spoken about, potentially coming back from a broken finger, and all the signs are there that he will. But I imagine he might come into the wing, and Sam Hayes would move from the wing into outside centre if need be. Or the other option is Tana Lauto, who was very good in the grand final last year, and a natural number 13.
Well, that's exactly
but
right. So
also comes with the handicap of 3 points.
And Wanderers, they teeter on about 18 to 21. So they've got a bit up their sleeve, Wanderers, and Bubba might be forced to show his hand. I think if Madden isn't playing, I think they need to get Lautai in the side.
I think he'd like to, all things being equal, but I don't think he will. I think given Durant Weaver is one of their backup front rowers, the Welsh import, he's still worth 3 points. I think he probably sees he needs to have that little bit of buffer, but he has got Pete Backrich there as well. But generally when it comes to big games, your forwards are the ones you think of first in terms of the bench, because after 60 or 70 minutes of a grand final, your front rowers are the ones normally looking sticking their hand up looking for a spell. So interesting to see how he plays. He's a master tactician, Bubba. He'll have 3 or 4 plans in his head, no doubt, but I think a lot of it will hinge on Sorelli Banavalo. And
one plan for each personality, maybe.
Exactly. But whichever way they go there, I still think they've got the depth to cover it. I mean, that's the beauty about Hamilton, not just this year, in the past years. If someone drops out and bang, someone just as good, if not better, comes in. I mean, if Sorelli Banavalo comes in, you've got New South Wales country winger and I think 2-time leading try scorer coming onto your wing.
Yeah,
which,
it certainly is. And I guess
is enough to
big
pose a
news
threat
coming
to
out of
any
last night. Ben Ham back in the grand final, which I think they've made the right decision there. We've mentioned before two yellow cards from team penalties. I think if it's a team penalty, the captain should get the yellow card.
Potentially, maybe that's something you should throw up next Mooney. But I mean, I can understand Hamilton's frustration. That's 2 years in a row now that Wanderers have had a player have a suspension overturned. last year it was Daniel
That was a
Martin,
mess.
which
I mean,
that
this is
dragged
different.
right out
I mean,
and became a real.
there's no. No one in
a mess,
Supreme
yeah.
Court.
This is
clothes
totally different. I mean,
has come across. Well, that's what I was saying off camera yesterday. Do you think the Wanderers
And this one, to be
Monday, do you
fair-
think it's going to be dressed as Supreme Court judges all in weeks?
There's no doubt that Scotty Cullen will be firing his troops up on that angle, saying, Wanderers have done it again. But the guidelines are there. Under the ARU guidelines, it's there for you to challenge if a yellow card results in a suspension. You can take it to the judiciary, and then the judiciary has a look at the circumstances. If it's 3 acts of foul
I think
play,
it's good.
you're
I
Bob
think
Hope,
he
you're
should
getting
be
off,
playing.
No hope whatsoever. I think any reasonable person would say, 3 yellow cards, of which 2 were for repeated indiscretions, 1 being offside. He deserves to play in the
let's
grand
be
final.
honest.
And
What
privately,
wouldn't you? I mean,
Scott Coleman says
you'd challenge
the
it
same
every
thing.
day.
He
of
would.
the week. What wouldn't you? I mean, you'd challenge it every day of the week.
Yeah, and he said to me, if the shoe is on the other foot, well then of course they'd be taking the same action. So it creates that little bit of, we love a little bit of controversy in grand final week. It'll fire the 2 teams up. I'm sure it'll fire the crowd up if Ben Ham gives away a penalty or is in the vicinity of getting a chat to from the referee. The Hawks faithful will be.
Yeah, well that's right. Well,
more-
Jared
I think
Logan's the
it'll be more
referee as
talk.
well. He's obviously
Less talk, if that's
the
the
number
case.
one referee in town. I thought he refereed not too bad last week, apart from the Ben Ham penalty maybe. Apart from the Ben Ham penalty maybe.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is his 4th consecutive grand final, so he's no stranger to these big games now. He's an old pro at it. I know Wanderers particularly will be talking this week about their discipline and about giving away penalties, because the penalty count at one point was 9-1. It finished 11-5 by my count, but of course 3 of those were for marched up the ground for instantly back chat and then offside from a quick tap, offside from a quick tap, and then all of a sudden Ben Ham gets sent to the sin bin. And in these games, it could come down to 3 points, and you just can't afford to give away penalties within
if you're
kicking range,
Luke
particularly with
Sherwood,
someone
I know
like
he had a bit of trouble
Jason
actually
Keelan's
communicating with Jared last week. Do you sit down maybe tomorrow and have a chat with Jared and just say, I'm just trying to get the best for my team on the field and explain some of the interpretations of the laws.
Yeah, it might be a good idea. I mean, I think Luke's matured as a leader this year. I mean, 2 years ago, or even a year ago, if that happens, he's a bull at a red rag. You've lost him for a good 10-15 minutes, but now he's certainly more mature. He understands his role better. I think he does communicate better with the referees. But in the grand final, when the intensity's high and the stakes are high, sometimes it's hard to control.
Especially when you're short.
Your emotions, and that's where he's got to take a step back.
Yeah, definitely. And of
take
course,
a deep breath and
the
away
big
we go.
Anderson medal presentations halfway at half time again this year, which will be a big thing. Who do you think is going to win that? Who do you think is going to win that? I think
it's down. I think it'll be tight. I think it comes down to about 5. I don't think either of the two. You wouldn't think either of the 2 grand finalists will have anyone that's going to be collecting that medal unless they're planning to put the oranges down at half time and come and grab it. But I suspect. I know certainly Seva Rockabora was right in the mix in terms of Wanderers. I don't think there was anyone particularly high. They tend to spread their points around. Jay Strawn had a fantastic finish to the season. He'd be certainly in reckoning. And of course, you can never dismiss Nick Davidson, the defending Anderson medal winner, and also a couple of Southern Beaches guys, Vartel Oliva and Michael Delors. I think it'll come down to potentially
he's a good
Delors
showing
for mine.
As far as man of the match in the grand final, who do you think's the player that's going to turn it for me? I think Luke Simmons is the key. He's come back from an injury last week. Certainly his control around the park. He's been out and out the standout, and of course Dylan Rowney for the Wanderers. He's really hit some form in the semi-finals, and he's playing as good as I can remember him playing.
Yeah, well, Luke Simmons certainly a career best form for him. You can see the confidence in him. If his confidence in his ability, it flows over to his goal kicking. His goal kicking has been fantastic. I was speaking to him yesterday here at training. And he was still wearing it
because he knew bubble was coming.
That was purely precaution because of course he did that ankle. But he's going to goal kick it. He's confident in that. He said if I'm not goal kicking, well then I'll be thinking about the ankle, and I don't want to do that. So he'll be 100% right to go. I think Steve Lamont for Hamilton. He's always the leader. He's their big game player. If they need a lift, they need a steal at the breakdown. They need someone to make a shot or someone to
Of course, Jason Keelan as well.
He's the one that generally lifts them.
Tactically as good as Simmons. He really steers them round. Now, Wanderers interesting last year. They haven't played in the semi-finals this year, which is good for the grand final, I think. But Wanderers last year, they really targeted Keelan. Do you think that's going to happen? And do you think how can Hamilton combat that? And do you think how can Hamilton combat that?
Oh, for sure. I mean, you're always trying to put pressure on the man that's got his hands on the ball more than anyone, particularly with his kicking game. Generally, Jason Keelan in past seasons has sat a bit deeper in the pocket, which means he's harder to get to. Whereas this year I noticed he's standing a bit flatter and taking the line a bit more. I think that shows his confidence in himself and he's reading the game better. Although certainly, I mean, Daniel Martin will be running at him all day.
Well, that's a good
He'll be sick
matchup
of seeing
between
Daniel
him and
Martin
Seva
in his
Rockabora
face.
as well.
No doubts about that.
Well,
Likewise,
matchup between him and Seva Rockabora
yeah.
as well.
Likewise, I'm sure
Who would you rather have
Luke
running
Simmons
at
is
you?
going to have Seva Rockabora.
Who would you rather have
Teaming-
running at you?
Oh, geez, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think I couldn't
Well, no, it's
handle
amazing.
Seva. He scares me. He scares me. And he scored 18 tries. A second rower / number 8 scored 18 tries. Only 3 behind Tim Marsh, who has been a revelation on the wing for Wanderers. And that's, again, where their strength... I think that's where they're going to shift. They're going to shift the ball. They're going to try to shift the ball. But to do that, they need to lay that platform. And that's where the kids like Phil Bradford will be better for last year. Ben Christensen needs to have a big game. We mentioned Martin. Ignacio Battellini's been much improved for mine. Tanner Felix has come into the side and was excellent last week. So, and then you go to Hamilton and you got Joe Aggersdy. John Agnew, the big Pommy,
exactly.
Scottish got out.
It's going to be an absolute cracker, I think. And you can tune in on Bar TV, of course, if you can't get to the ground. It's going to be an awesome day here at Number 2 Sports Ground. I expect it to be about 3,000 to 4,000 people here. It's going to be a sunny day, so get your kids down here. Kids under 16 are going to be free, so it's going to be a massive day. Get them down here to be face painting. Get them involved in local community rugby because it's the best day of the year, apart from Mad Monday. It's the best day of the year, apart from Mad Monday.
It is indeed. And the Herald, we've got a big spread coming up on Saturday. There's a nice story about Pete Maxwell and his brother-in-law Paddy Kilmurray and Pete's 2 little beasts, as he calls them. And of course, we'll be doing some live blogs. I'll be doing reports at halftime on our Facebook site, and there'll be plenty of photos and all the wrap of it in Monday's paper, as well as online at
definitely. It'll be good doing work with the Herald this year on Bar TV as well. It's been a good little partnership again. Thanks for joining us again, Jimmy. I'm going to give you one more chance this week. Tell someone to rock off. This week, tell someone to rock off.
I've had a thought about this, and I've come up with something.
Oh,
Whoever
yes.
invented the off-field yellow card, the yellow card,
that is the worst rule, single-handed rule
right
in the
off.
history of rugby union.
We don't
But in
want to
any
see
case, let's rock off for this week. We'll have a little wrap-up show next week. But thanks for tuning in all year, everybody. It's been a great, and thanks to producer Ryan. He does a good job of putting together each week as well. He does a good job of putting together each week. Definitely
makes you look pretty,
makes
which
us
is
both
hard
look
itself.
skinny, which is good. In any case, that's rock off for the year. I'm Gareth Wazick. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you at the grand final. I'm Gareth Wazick. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you at the grand final.